I recently just added an email course template to the Palladio gallery. And in this video, I wanted to walk you through how to use it and how to configure it for your own purposes. So let's talk quickly about what we're trying to achieve with this new email template. So the email template, the goal of it is to give your readers, so the people going through your email course, a few different usability enhancements that usually don't accompany normal email course lessons. So those enhancements are first an indication of what lesson they're currently getting. So are they getting lesson 2, lesson 5, lesson 3? What are they currently reading? Secondly, what's happening in this lesson? So a brief 1 to 2 sentence overview of what they're going to learn. And then finally, a outline of all the various lessons that are included in this email course, because I've joined a lot of email courses where I know it's 9 lessons, but I have no idea what's coming. So I wanted to make it so in each lesson, somebody would have an idea of what they've already received, what they're currently reading, and what lessons are to come. So to do that, I've created this email course template in Palladio that you can import into your Palladio account. And you're going to want to do the usual things of change the branding colors, change the logo, all that kind of stuff. But once you're ready and once it looks the way you want it to, here's how you're going to how you're actually going to use it in ConvertKit for powering your email courses. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, this is really the most important thing, is to define what lessons are in your course. So if I click the preview button up here, you'll see down here we have 5 different lessons outputted with pretty much the same name. This is the first lesson, second lesson, and so on. So you're going to want to make that actually reflect your lessons. So to do that, you're going to click on this meta button. So this used to be called the slots area. Now we're calling it the meta variables area, which I think make a bit more sense. And you're going to see that we have a few different variables set up that are going to drive each usage of this email template. So we have the current lesson name, we have the current lesson number, and so on and so forth. You can ignore all this for now, but go down to the bottom where we have all lessons. And this is where you're going to want to configure your syllabus. So if you have a 3-lesson email course, or let's say a 4-lesson email course, just delete the last one. Now we have 4 things here, and just replace in here the text of each of your lesson titles. Once you've done that, go ahead and click save if you don't have autosave enabled. And what you're going to want to do now is just make sure if you click on preview up here, does this all look right? So in this case, I went from a 5-lesson email course to a 4-lesson. This looks fine. Okay, so the next step is going to be to actually turn this into ConvertKit. So actually bring this into ConvertKit. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to click the Add to ConvertKit button. Click the blue button to get it on your clipboard. And then go over to in ConvertKit, go to Send, click on Email Templates, and click New Email Template. Choose Custom HTML at the bottom, and paste this in. So you'll see that this is generated by Palladio. It has all the liquid stuff, all the HTML, all the CSS, everything that you need to make this work the way you want it to. What you call it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to call this email course. But if you're going to have multiple email courses, you'll want to make sure that the name of this reflects each one, because you'll notice the syllabus is hard-coded in. So if you have 3 different email courses with different lessons, obviously in each, you're going to want 3 different email templates that you save. Okay, so once I've done this, I click save, and now we've created this new template in my ConvertKit account. Now, the next step is going to be to set up a sequence which will power the actual email course itself. So I'm going to click New Sequence. I'm going to call this Email Course Test. And there we go. So when you create a sequence in ConvertKit, it creates a sequence with 1 email, and it's tied to the default, which is usually the text template. So the first thing I need to do before I do anything is change this new email course sequence to use my email course template. So when you go to the Settings tab, next to Email Template, choose Email Course, and then click Update. Now go back to Content, And now you'll see that the Palladio loaded lesson is there as expected. You can ignore this stuff about null and things like that because we're going to be modifying this for each of the lessons that you load in. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of the stuff that ConvertKit comes with. So when you create a new sequence email in ConvertKit, it puts all this kind of helper text in here by default. Select that all, click delete, and you are good. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to create 4 different emails here. So this is the first email. We're going to create a second email, a third, and a fourth. And these are going to represent each of the 4 lessons for this email course. Now, what we need to do is we need to go into Palladio again. And for each lesson, we're going to click use an email and enter in the details for that lesson. So I'm going to click use an email for the first lesson. And if you're used to the old way of using an email, you'll notice the interface has changed. Now, I've made it so this is a lot more sensical, where sometimes you are going to be specifying meta variables for the purposes of, in this case, this email, this lesson in the email course. But other times you're not. Like we never want to redefine all lessons because that's not going to change email to email, right? That's now hard coded into the email template. So we're going to leave that alone, but the lesson name, the lesson number, and the lesson intro will change on a lesson by lesson basis. So to do this, I'm going to just click each of the meta variables I want to specify and then specify them. So let's give lesson name, let's give this, this is the first lesson. This will just reflect whatever the first lesson of your email course is. I'm going to click lesson number and enter in 1. And then I'm going to give it an introduction. So welcome to the email course. You're going to learn so much. Cool. So now that that looks good, I'm going to click next. And you'll see that this is what it's actually going to look like for the end user. So we have the title we just entered in, lesson 1, that looks good. This is the intro text. And then lesson 1 is bolded, whereas 2, 3, and 4 are low opacity. So that looks the way we want it to look. So I'm going to click this blue button, and now I'm going to click it again to copy this stuff to my clipboard. So I'm going to copy this liquid, click OK. And now in the first lesson, which I'm in here, where it says add content, I'm going to click paste. And then I'm going to write where it says your content goes here. This is going to be the normal content of the email courses where I'm actually writing the lesson itself. When I click preview as browser, you're going to see now that we have what we want, which is the lesson 1. This is the first lesson. Intro. It basically looks exactly like the preview that we saw in Palladio, which is good. Okay, so we've done that for the first lesson, and obviously you're going to write the first lesson's content. Now for the second lesson, we're going to do the same thing, except I'm going to go back to set meta variables and update this. So this is going to be lesson 2. This is the second lesson. It's great. And then we'll put something like, yesterday I showed you X. Today I'll show you Y. Click next. Now we can see down here, we have now, this is the new title for this lesson, new intro, and you can see that we are now bolding lesson 2. So this looks good. Click this, copy again. Now in the second email, same deal, just paste this in, put in the content of lesson number 2, and you are good. And that's pretty much all you need to do is just do that. Click use an email for each lesson of your email course, configure it like I just showed you, and that's it. So again, this is in my mind, a relatively straightforward and simple way of creating a good looking email template that just is a bit beyond the usual just rich text style thing where we have the indicator of the lesson, we have the big and bold lesson name, the bigger but not quite as bold lesson introduction, the lesson itself, and then this nice course syllabus at the end. Now, if you do things like one of the things I've done with my W freelancing company is I've published each lesson to my website because I tend to get a lot of people saying, hey, can you resend lesson 1? Even though I could tell them search your inbox for, this and you'll find it. Sometimes people like having an actual link. Maybe this is a PDF file, maybe it's an actual web page or whatever it is. you could modify the meta variables of the template to have a URL. And then let's say you want to do a PDF for each one. You can make it so for past lessons. So if they've already received a lesson, you could have it so they could click this and it would go to the PDF file of that lesson for them to download to Dropbox or whatever else. But that's up to you if you want to go that far. So anyway, that's how to do it. That's hopefully that makes some sense. And as always, if you have any questions about the usage or the setup in Palladio, please let me know.